They say that a man's home is his castle, but for me, it turned out to be a crime scene staged by my own flesh and blood. My name is Arthur, and at 72, I thought I had raised two loyal, loving children. I spent 40 years working in a shipyard, breaking my back to ensure they never wanted for anything. But I recently learned that to some children, a parent isn't to a person, they are just an obstacle standing in the way of an early inheritance. The nightmare began on a Tuesday morning. It was a simple slip on a wet porch, but at my age, simple doesn't exist. My hip gave out, and suddenly, I was in an ambulance. The doctors told me I needed 3 weeks in a high-intensity rehabilitation center to get back on my feet. My kids, Mark and Sarah, were right there at the hospital. They held my hand, kissed my forehead, and told me, "Don't worry about the house, Dad. We'll handle everything. Just focus on getting better." I actually felt grateful. I felt loved. I thought, this is why you have children, so you aren't alone when you fall. But while I was doing painful physical therapy, learning how to walk again, my children were busy doing something else. They weren't checking on my mail or watering my plants. They were calling junk removal services and antique dealers. They were listing my mahogany dining table on Facebook Marketplace and selling my late wife's jewelry to pawn shops. They had decided, in their infinite wisdom, that I was never coming back. They called me stubborn and unrealistic behind my back, telling the neighbors that I was suffering from cognitive decline and would be moving straight from rehab into a state-run nursing home. The name of this channel is spilled at dinner, and today, the meal is cold because the table it was supposed to be served on was sold for $300 by my own son. On the 21st day, I felt strong. I wanted to surprise them. I didn't call for a ride. I took a taxi. I was whistling as I pulled into my driveway, leaning on my cane, picturing my favorite armchair and a hot cup of tea. But when I pushed open the front door, the whistle died in my throat. The house was cold. Not just cold, it was hollow. My footsteps echoed on the hardwood floors because there were no rugs to muffle the sound. My armchair was gone. The television was gone. Even the pictures of my grandchildren had been stripped from the walls. It looked like the house had been looted by a professional crew. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I walked into the kitchen, and even the silver spoons were gone. Just then, the back door opened. Mark and Sarah walked in, carrying a stack of cardboard boxes and a for sale sign. They stopped dead when they saw me. "Dad?" Sarah gasped, her face turning a ghastly shade of gray. "What are you doing here? You're supposed to be," the doctor said. The doctor said I was fit to go home. I said, my voice trembling with a mixture of shock and fury, "Where is my furniture? Sarah, where is your mother's china?" Mark had the audacity to step forward with a smug, condescending smile. "Look, Dad, we were just trying to get a head start. You can't live here alone anymore. You're a problem for us to manage now. We've already looked at a few places. Sunset Manor is very nice. We're selling the house to pay for the premium suite. It's for your own good. You're just too stubborn to see it. A problem." That's what 40 years of fatherhood had boiled down to. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I simply reached into my pocket, pulled out my cell phone, and dialed 3 digits. 911. "Dad, what are you doing?" Mark hissed, trying to grab the phone. I stepped back. My cane held out like a weapon. "I'm reporting a grand larceny," I told the operator. "I've just returned to my home to find it stripped of all valuables. The suspects are currently in my kitchen." The look of pure, unadulterated terror on their faces was the only thing that kept me standing. When the police arrived, Mark and Sarah tried to play the concerned children card. They told the officers I was confused, that I had given them permission, but I was prepared. I had my mental health evaluation from the rehab center signed just 2 hours earlier. stating I was 100% lucid and capable of making my own decisions. I pressed charges. I didn't care about the family name. They hadn't cared about me. The legal battle that followed was swift because they had sold my property without power of attorney. It was considered theft. I sued them for the full value of the items lost, plus emotional distress. The settlement was significant enough to replenish my savings and then some. But I didn't use that money to buy new furniture. I used it to hire a professional living care team, not because I needed them for every task, but because I wanted a new family, one that was paid to be loyal, rather than one that felt entitled to my death. The most impactful part, I invited them over one last time to sign the final papers. They arrived looking pathetic, hoping for reconciliation, hoping for peace of the eventual inheritance. I sat them down in the only two chairs left in the living room. You wanted an early inheritance, I told them, sliding to envelopes across the floor. Inside, you'll find a copy of my new will. Ivy left the house, and all my remaining assets to a local charity for elderly victims of abuse. You wanted to treat me like a problem. Well, now I'm a problem you no longer have to worry about, because as of today, I have no children. I watched them leave my property for the last time. They left with nothing, no money, no house, and no father. They thought they were being clever, clearing out the old man before he could be a burden. Instead, they cleared themselves out of my life. To anyone watching this who feels like their children are starting to look at their home like a paycheck, stand your ground. You are not a problem to be managed. You are the master of your own domain until the day you decide otherwise. If they want to treat your life like a clearance sale, show them that the store is closed for good. What would you do in my shoes? Would you have called the police on your own children? Or is blood thicker than a house full of furniture? Leave your opinion in the comments and share this story. Let it be a warning to every entitled child out there. The old man might just have one more move left on the board. This has been spilled at dinner. My house is empty, but my conscience is clear. I'll see you in the next story.